Inking is a drawing process normally found in comics, which consists of making a black and white page from another previously drawn in pencil, with the aim of achieving a clean and visually easy to understand image, marking the details that cannot be seen or are difficult to see in the pencil page, and in addition, facilitating the subsequent application of color. The inking process is not simply tracing the artist's work in black and white. The person in charge of inking, the inker, is another artist who can give, in this process, a new visual charge to the artist's work, depending on the techniques applied, focusing more on the thickness of the contours, the detail of the textures, or the effect of light on the drawn forms. Basically, the function of an inker is to finish defining the drawing, adding depth and shadows. This implies that an inker is also a person with knowledge of volume, anatomy, and light management. Beyond what someone who has no experience in this field can imagine, the same drawing, inked by different inkers, can result in completely different work. In short, the skills of an inker are the same as those that a penciler must have. He must know how to draw, he must know anatomy, perspective, scale, light management, architecture, everything a comic artist knows, with the added bonus that he must also know how to read the illustration to get the most out of it. Historically, Chinese ink and drawing instruments such as markers, dip pens, and brushes have been used, although nowadays the use of software for computers and tablets is widespread. Inkers often use the thickness of the lines to define how close and far objects can be. Closer objects will tend to be represented with a thicker line, while those farther away will be delineated with a thinner line. The artists give volume to the illustrations by means of shading. Some of them play with the gradient of the ink using the brush, and others use the hatching. Hatching or cross-hatching is a difficult technique, crossing lines in different directions to make the shadow gradients. The more crosses and more lines, the darker it gets. It is a versatile medium, but it requires pulse and work. In the American market, where work is done in a chain, the inker is usually credited along with the rest of the team. Stan Lee was the first publisher to institutionalize that inkers, colorists, and letterers were credited with names and surnames. So in any American comic it is easy to find references to the whole team. However, this recognition is not so common in European comics, where many inkers who have worked in fundamental comics in that market have not been recognized as they should have been. And with everything mentioned above, it is clear that the inker is a fundamental piece for the production of a comic. The inker is the one who has the control of the final result, corrects the defects that may be in the original drawing. Even a bad drawing can be saved by a good inking, but not even the best drawing survives a bad inking.